Hello, welcome to Business Reporter's The Best of British Business campaign. I'm Ashley Blake. Retail is under pressure. High streets are struggling with dwindling footfall, persistently low customer engagement and squeezed margins. Yet out at sea, a very different story is emerging. Cruise retail is booming, with millions of customers stepping aboard every year. And still, many brands dismiss it as niche or too complex to get into. If that's the case, why are the retailers already on board seeing results the high street can only dream of? And how can retailers tap into this market with confidence? On board the majestic Cunard Queen Anne, we're discussing all that and more with Harding, the world's leading cruise retail specialists. Katie, Mark, good morning. Welcome to Business Reporter's The Best of British Business campaign. Let's start by briefly explaining what Harding is.
Harding is, first and foremost, is a retailer. The difference about our retail is that it's on the high seas. So the retail environment itself is familiar to a retailer, but it's the time, duration and dwell time that we have with our guests that makes us slightly different to what you'd experience on land-based retail.
So why is cruise retail such an attractive proposition to brands and retailers?
We significantly outperform high street retail and other retail sectors in terms of ROI when we work closely with brands on brand activations. But we also see from our guests a real intention to shop with us. In a survey, we saw that 92% of our guests intend to shop when we ask them pre-cruise, and that is unmatched in any other retail sector. We know also that approximately 87% of our guests are more inclined to buy when they are experiencing retail and when it's brought to life for them, which is why we invest so much time and effort in doing exactly that for them.
OK, so how aware are retailers of these opportunities? And what do you think the common misconceptions are?
So I think the common misconception is probably that cruise is quite niche. It's probably not even thought of as a core retail sector by many brands. That said, we already work with over 600, so there's quite a few who've already got it out there, but I know that there's a lot more that we don't yet have a relationship with. We know that cruise itself is growing. By 2028, there will be 42 million people globally travelling by cruise. And so cruise retail is an opportunity not just to tap into 42 million travellers, but also 42 million people who are on holiday, who are looking for entertainment, who have money to spend. And so it's definitely something that more brands, more retailers should want to be a part of.
A captive audience, if you like. But it's more than that because you know your customers, don't you? You know pretty much everything about them.
We do, but not in a spooky way. We have a variety of data sources that we bring to bear to really understand our guests. Obviously, we can see sales by cabin, so that we understand who is buying what, when they're buying it, what they're buying it with. We can then align that with an understanding of who is on board, by gender, by age, by the number of times that they've travelled before. And also, obviously, we know where the ship is going for each of its different cruises or different voyages. We ensure that our retail offering and the displays that we curate are relevant for those guests for that individual cruise. And so it is different every single time a guest comes past. And we can bring that experience to life through tastings, demonstrations, seminars, so that they stay with us, build relationships with our shipboard teams, and really start to enjoy the retail experience as well as just putting their hands in their pockets and buying from us.
If you look across Harding's portfolio in its entirety, we're on 12 different cruise brands. There's over 300 shops that we operate across those 12 cruise brands. It's over 6 million transactions now that happen across our real estate. There's over 1,300 of our colleagues at sea at any one point in time. Harding's had a really successful year. We are 3.5% up on prior year. If you compare that to high street retail, they're averaging around about 1.4. We have just been awarded Cruise Retailer of the Year. That is the third time that we've won that award in the last 4 years. And then from the business perspective, we've pushed our turnover now to just over 305 million towards the back end of last year. But we think there is more opportunity still to drive that revenue even further.
I see. So earlier you were kind enough to take me on a tour of the Queen Anne, the retail area of what a guest would experience. Let's take a look at this now.
So what you find in the layout of the stores, they'll be in a central area of the ship, strategically placed in high footfall and traffic flow areas. Through here, Ashley, is now our fine jewellery space. So very important product from a guest perspective and certainly important product from Harding perspective. So you get a lot of guests on board that are celebrating. So they may have an anniversary, they may be renewing some wedding vows, it may be a birthday. And so there's this element of self-treat that you find from a retail perspective on board a cruise ship that's slightly different to what you would find in normal retail. And so this is the part that the fine jewellery space plays in that element.
I see. And it's all about creating that experience, isn't it?
Absolutely, and you've got the time and the opportunity to do that. It was guests are with us anywhere from 3 days up to 100 days. They're much, much more time rich than what you'd find in a normal retail environment. And so with that allows them to engage with the staff more. It allows us the opportunity then to tell more stories. It's quite a unique set of circumstances that they're so time rich. This space in particular that you see here was designed with the absolute focus in mind of being able to do guest experiences, guest activations, guest demonstrations in a very relaxed environment where people can interact with the product. We've then got the opportunity to do our storytelling, and also brands have got the opportunity to do their storytelling. So if you kind of look at the space, it's very comfortable, they can sit down, it's even equipped with a sink and a wash basin. So if we wanted to do any kind of beauty activation or beauty demonstrations or beauty seminars, they've got the full facilities there to do it. So it's connected to the retail space, but it's also isolated from the retail space. You can create that more premium experience within this area.
I see.
So actually what you see front and centre here is sustainable retail. So what we've seen across our ships over the last couple of years is the rise and the importance of pre-loved. So we've been able to bring pre-owned Rolex as an example, which you see here. Super exclusive product, very difficult to get hold of. Excellent price proposition on board. And then flanked around that, you will see that there's a number of different premium brands that we have: Rado, Baume & Mercier, Tag Heuer. And the activation space that I spoke to you about a little bit earlier, that's also an opportunity to where we can run our events such as the Watch and Scotch, or we can do the Whisky Talks also in the same space. So this is a truly important category for us, but also speaks to that premium Cunard feel that you will have experienced in the fine jewellery space as well.
So if I were to be a retailer, how would I go about getting on board with Harding?
As a dedicated cruise retailer, we've done all the understanding on the complexity of the logistics, and that's how we can help the brands and vendors on board seamlessly versus them trying to do that themselves. We can get product from a warehouse to a ship in under 10 days. And so we take all of that work for the retailer and do the whole supply chain planning and logistics element for them. So it just means that the speed that it gets to the ship is infinitely quicker.
And to sum up, ambitions for Harding as a company, where can you see that in 5 to 10 years' time?
So we are the only 100% cruise retail focused retailer out there. And we've solved a lot of the problems that having international, global moving shops would bring to bear for a lot of potential entrants to the market. So that means that we can really now focus our time and attention on what's really special about cruise retail. Our guests are on holiday and they're here to be entertained, engaged, educated, and that's where retail as an experience really comes into the fore. So the future for Harding lies in even more open retail. Retail without borders is a key strategy from our design and development perspective to encourage guests to explore and browse things they hadn't even thought about before they got on board. And more of that is coming our way in terms of new store design. We're also looking at even more destination-led experiences. This is cruise, this is holiday, and guests are looking for something meaningful to take home from an amazing experience. And we're looking for more and more precision-led marketing, using those data sources, using our really pinpoint understanding of the guest in order to make that experience even more finely tuned.
We spent the last 12 to 18 months on a company-wide transformation programme. The key point around this is how we make sure that the guest is always front and centre of every decision that we make.
Katie, Mark from Harding, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.